Welcome back to a new video. So I had to re-record the intro to this video because in the clip that I recorded out in the shed, I did something wrong with my microphone and it didn't have any audio. For the first clip, all the other lifting clips worked fine, and then the conclusion is still there. So I just wanted to provide a little bit of context of what I talked about at the beginning. Basically that I had pretty low expectations with the block work because I haven't done them in quite a bit. So I was just hoping to just move well. And I wanted to do some reps in the overhead squat. I think that was like the two big things I talked about. But yeah, I apologize for that. But sometimes technology doesn't work. Thankfully, the conclusion still has the audio working fine with that. So that is still at the end of the video. But pretty productive day. Got a lot of reps and actually got up to some pretty heavy weights. But you'll see that here in a second. But I'll talk to you guys at the end of the video in the conclusion part. Well, it was a quicker session, which I kind of envisioned at the beginning. I didn't envision being able to try 125 or being able to hit 120 from the blocks. No, it was a pretty ugly session as far as miss 100, make 100, miss 110, make 110, miss 120, make 120, and miss 125 twice. And really shouldn't have went that heavy, I suppose. But, it's fun. Block work's fun to do. And nothing gets you prepared for heavy weights other than attempting them. And I think this is definitely a day, like, if it was like yesterday and I'm fresh and whatnot, I think that I would have made more lifts at least. I don't know about the 125, but at least on the first one, it felt close. The second one, I was definitely too fatigued at that point, and it just kind of smashed down upon me. Now, I did hit 120, which is nice. I think that sets me up for hopefully next week on a similar day like this, to where I can work up to 120 without any misses and hopefully make it easier. When I made the adjustments of extending a bit more fully, they all felt better. And so I think a lot of it is technical and less of the fatigue, but I'm sure the fatigue did play a factor in the extension. I'm very happy, though, with the drop sets, doing the 3x5 overhead squats at 80. They were definitely difficult, but they weren't unbelievably so. I definitely think that I could do a little bit more. And when I did the overhead press, after those, at that point, my wrist was a little bit sore. My right wrist is a little bit sore throughout it, but it wasn't really impacting anything. And I just kind of felt it on those, and I figured instead of just overhead pressing, it'd be better to do some of the different shoulder movements that I could do. So if you look at the knees over toe guy, two of the movements, one I'm probably going to adjust, but one is just the external rotator motion with a plate or a dumbbell or whatever. That's not a very radical idea. Something I've done actually for over a decade at this point, which is I don't like thinking about, but since I've played baseball, it's been a motion I've done with bands and whatnot. And the other one that I want to do in here is, I guess, just a pullover. I don't have dumbbells, so I'll just use a plate, but I'm going to lean on one of these boxes and just reach back and pull over and do those. And now that I'm thinking about it, I could flip over on my belly and do some raises up in front of me, which now that I've said that and manifested it, I feel like that will probably feel better because the box is not very comfortable, even with this rubber mat on it. Certainly not the most optimal thing to be leaning back on. So we'll see how that feels, but I might do that because I can have it significantly lighter in load. If I have the pullover, I kind of have to probably get the blue, which is fine, but it just means that the platform will just be less comfortable that I'm going to be in my background with the block. So we'll see what that looks like. I'm not going to film those, but that's why I kind of cut off the overhead presses early, because once I did 3, I was like, my wrist kind of hurts. I think I'd probably get more benefit out of that. And that's kind of, like I mentioned yesterday, it's just these sessions are just kind of building into what I want the next week to look like. So then you can look what you did the previous week and then build upon it, either build more consistency or more weight or more volume. On a session like this, I guess it might be the fact that I could, do a heavy block snatch. I certainly did not have energy to do cleans or anything like that, nor did I want to do block cleans on a day like this. But potentially, maybe this is a heavier block snatch day with some overhead squats at the end, and then that's kind of the focus of the session. I certainly could benefit from just having more snatches in general. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And I thought about doing like the squats and stuff, but once I did the overhead squats, I kind of talked myself out of doing those. It's because I just wasn't really, I'm just kind of sore, and that kind of makes sense from the previous session. So I don't want to make anything, more sore for the previous one. But if everything kind of just plays out how I feel like tomorrow, I should actually feel pretty good, but I probably won't go too heavy. What I'll probably do is have either some light work in both lifts or light powers in both lifts as well. I haven't decided how I want that to look. Could be like no foots. That could also be a good idea to do tomorrow as well, and then prepare for heavier singles on Saturday, and then just keep repeating that, and hopefully just build consistency throughout the weeks, be able to increase the volume. That's kind of, I suppose, my bigger focus is less about trying to get the 125 block snatch. Obviously, I want to get that, but like it's less of each week that I'm going to keep hammering at this and be upset if I don't get it. It's more so like the overhead squats I did after. Like that's really what's going to build me up, is if I'm really building those up and starting to be able to do 3x5s at heavier and heavier weights. I mean, it's not going to hurt to have stronger shoulders. Certainly in that overhead position for the snatch, certainly is not going to make my snatch worse. So building that, they're easy wins in a sense because I have a lot of room to grow, and I'm going to get a lot of bang for my buck because it's just good overall stability to do. I mean, overhead squats, I would say, are probably the most difficult exercise to do. I probably like clean grip or like squat jerks would probably be squat jerk overhead squats, whatever that movement would be called. I think that's probably the hardest just because of the mobility aspect, but just regular overhead squats are certainly up there. But definitely happy with being able to make 120 and then just kind of getting back into the groove of these lifts. And maybe next week I'll feel like doing some more cleans and stuff, and it gives me room to grow, cutting it off short here with the volume and the intensity of the secondary movement. But I don't envision myself really being excited to do block cleans, so that may not happen. But we'll get the shoulder work done, get a nice little shoulder pump, and just leave the shed. I almost said the gym today. Leave the shed today with a good shoulder workout at least. But I don't know. I don't actually have a pump from the overhead squats, which is interesting because I had them earlier in this week. So I'm already getting used to doing them, I suppose. But we'll get the shoulder work done, and probably in tomorrow's video, I'll talk about which ones I actually did. But I'll probably dabble in all 3 of those. So the external rotators of some sort, and then the pullovers, and I guess the lateral, like the Superman movement type things. I don't know, really know what to call them. the names aren't important as long as you know what you're doing. And yeah, that's going to be it for this one. So made it this far and throughout the videos this week, I appreciate it. As always, I'll talk to you on the next one. Have a great day. Peace.